A great reset is nearing. Don't believe it. It's still true. We're going to look at information from the IMF, from the World Economic Forum. We're going to talk about news that's going on today and how all of it correlates with the launch of central bank digital currencies around the world. It is coming, ladies and gentlemen, believe it or not. And XRP price is rocking in the meantime. Let's roll this beautiful intro and take a look at it. Here we go.
This is Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Subscribe for new content notifications. Now, here's Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. We got a great one for you today, and Kristalina Georgieva will be just one of the people that we focus on this morning. As we take a look at the numbers this morning, we see that we are still over $2 trillion for the cryptocurrency market space and growing at $2.089 trillion this morning. By the way, the numbers are brought to you by Kava. Earn high yield on your crypto. It's very, very straightforward. Look at this. Total asset values right now are $404 million. And you're looking at returns for an annual percentage yield, which is compound interest, by the way, on XRP right now is running 26+%, BTC 46+%, over 50% here for Binance USD, and looking at 67% plus on the hard token. So make sure you check out Kava Labs and all the opportunities you have to earn high yield on your crypto. Now, looking at the actual price of XRP this morning, we are ranging between $1.31 and $1.42 right now, and that is extremely exciting. I did do a video this morning, if you haven't seen it, on some price calls. We look at here that people are looking at the next target to be somewhere above $2. Now, that does not mean that we won't see some kind of a breath in the market or a retracement of some kind. So don't really freak out if you see some of that. None of this is financial advice, but this is an article here supporting what we talked about, and they are actually showcasing Crypto Bull 2020, who actually told us we would be in this situation that we're in, as well as many other technical analysts in this space who are experts at looking at the charts. Crypto Bull 2020 is one of them. Crypto Wizards, another one, has a private group, over 5,000 people in a paid group. That is no joke right there. If you join that group, tell them I sent you, and shout out to them for all the stuff that they share. And this really says here that if the trend continues for what we see, and it is very important to preface these things with that, if the trend continues, then what we could see play out is a $2.42 or $2.72 from other analysts in April as we close out the month, and potentially moving up to $7.25 in May, and June possibly hitting a $40 XRP. Again, check out the video I did earlier this morning and released. There's a lot of really great information in here. Now let's talk about this breaking news right here. This is Miguel Vias, the one and only former head of XRP Global Markets, is now joining DAM Gibraltar. Shout out to DJ Peter Vass for that breaking news. It says here that Miguel is joining their company, and I wanted to read this too. DAM's vision is to bridge the gap between cryptocurrency and traditional financial markets, allowing businesses in all industries to take full advantage of blockchain technology in their day-to-day financial operations. DAM has had successful facilitating business-to-business crypto payments for some of the largest gaming companies and payment gateways in the world. To date, the company has facilitated 400 million in volume and expects to achieve the 1 billion mark in 2021. They go on to say the CEO, Sam Buxton of DAM, says Miguel is an important piece of the DAM puzzle. He joins us at a great time when our B2B business is scaling at a fantastic rate and will play a crucial role in our B2B global expansion, as well as the launch of our retail mobile application, DAMX. So shout out to Miguel Vias, who has been amazing to take time out of his schedule to sit with us from time to time and do interviews. And maybe not too long from now, we will have our friend Miguel back on the show. So congratulations to him and DAM on all of that. That's happening. We will keep a close eye on it. And here's another thing we need to keep a close eye on. The Senate, this is from Reuters, and we're waiting to see if it plays out today or do they push it back. We'll see. But we should be getting the Senate today on April 12th. Will consider approving the nomination for Gary Gensler for the SEC chair. This comes about a month after the Senate Banking Committee voted 14-10 to advance his nomination. President Biden in January named Gensler SEC chair, who has a reputation for being a tough regulator when he led the Commodities Futures Trading Commission during the Obama administration. And a source familiar with the matter said that plan is to get Gensler to be sworn in and seated by April 19th if the full Senate agrees by unanimous consent on April 12th. Observers believe his nomination will be approved. So that's where we're looking for, and I hope that that happens, because if we've learned nothing else from this SEC versus Ripple case, it is in need. The SEC is in dire need of some real leadership, and I think Gary Gensler will bring it, whether you like some of what he does or not. This is from XRP attorney CEO, who's absolutely been on fire in this space. Shout out to you, my friend. Looks like Binance is taking a page out of Uphold's playbook, and you know what they say about imitation. It is the sincerest form of flattery, and I completely agree, my friend. And this is amazing to me because, now you're seeing that spread from these exchanges, and Uphold's not technically an exchange. They're really like a broker platform. So, but it is interesting to see all these exchanges want to, like Sologenic, shout out to Bob Rass and Reza and the team, and the fact that they're doing cryptos and tokenized stocks. This to me is where we're going. It is the new age. It is the fourth industrial revolution, and everything will be digitized and tokenized, like it or not. This is clear evidence that we are really headed that way. Now, here's some more clear evidence of where we're headed, and where we're headed is to a great reset. A great reset across the planet. Now, it's not just my idea. This is something that we've heard the narrative many, many times now, and you guys know it for sure, because the reality is there's the great reset from the World Economic Forum. We have seen a new Bretton Woods moment called by Kristalina Georgieva, the IMF managing director. And if you understand what these things mean, I think you start to really realize that the words and the opinions of Jim Rickards, who is a gold bug and an incredible book author, an incredible economist and lawyer. And he has really told us all of these moments that we're watching happening are actually unfolding right now. Let's listen to what they say in this short clip. We're going to listen to a couple quick clips out of here to really set the tone of why is this digital asset space going to take off? I mean, look, none of this is financial advice, but the reality is I believe that the real catalyst, besides what could move XRP price, but for the entire digital asset space, is the collapse, is the collapse of the entire conventional markets. Talking about a huge correction in the stock market. I'm talking about a huge number of foreclosures that are coming because the people that have been shut down because of the global pandemic and the global shutdown of the planet have been decimated large part. And the reality is the people that have been in forbearance, there's a lot of people that won't be able to recover from that. So that is a scary thing. So what I want to show you now is the 1 minute spot right here. Actually, 30-second spot right here. Listen to this.
Warning that the global financial system is experiencing a structural reform that will change money as we know it forever. The Great Reset, as most specialists call it, and as we mentioned in several of our previous videos, is finally here. And it is rapidly and silently developing on the dark backstage of central banks all around the world.
And that couldn't be any more true right there. Now let's listen here where they go a step further and bring the IMF into the matter and talk about the debasing of currency. Listen to this.
The expert explains that the current global financial system still operates under the resolutions of the Bretton Woods Agreement of 1944. Since that period, a first reset has occurred, which involved the creation of special drawing rights, the devaluation of the dollar, and the end of the gold standard. But for years and years, experts have been waiting for the next global monetary realignment, which is referred to as the Big Reset or the Great Reset, and now they've seemed to have found the perfect opportunity to put their plan in motion. The health crisis has undoubtedly ravaged economies all over the planet, but it also allowed governments, particularly the U.S. government, to engage in massive spending, expanding our money supply by the trillions. That, however, is putting our position as the world's reserve currency at risk, as rising inflation is threatening to sharply collapse the value of our currency.
And it couldn't be more true. You know, I covered this summer, and I've played it for you for many times, how the IMF held a serious webinar about making an external adjustment to dominant currencies in the FX market, like the US dollar. An external adjustment to the dominant currencies like the US dollar in the FX market. So how currencies pair against one another, the value of the US dollar versus all the other dollars it pairs to in the world. And the reality here for me is that an external adjustment would mean, instead of us allowing the market to decide, that the IMF and others would collectively decide to make an adjustment on what the perceived and understood value, rather, is actually of the US dollar, because of the enormous amount of printing of money. And it can't be overlooked. It really can't. Take a look at this. This is a comment from Jim Rickards as well. After all, the value of a currency is a barometer of people's trust in the government and its ability to repay debts. Well, we have seen enormous amounts of money be printed during this pandemic, and he says rightfully so here, if there's no trust, then you don't have money. What you have instead is a collection of portraits of long dead presidents on some paper. And that really is the truth right there. And to me, that's a pretty frightening notion, because I have talked many times, and shout out to Macro Trader, who used to be Cryptopolis. Dave and I have talked many times when we used to do our Friday show, and we have gone over this a bunch. Confidence. It's an imaginary line in the sand. And the more they print trillions and trillions and trillions, you know, at some point there will be a confidence that is lost, not only within the United States and its citizens, but from the other countries around the world who rely on using the US dollar. And we already have seen Russia and China and other countries call to move away from the US dollar just for those reasons alone. So, all right, so now let's move forward really quickly here to 428. And again, shout out to Epic Economist for this video, and make sure you check out their videos for sure. Okay, let me move this to 428. This is about 25 seconds, so listen to this.
The bank has been quietly working on the perfect solution. So when things go downhill and the imminence of severe financial losses sparks panic and chaos across broad swathes of the U.S. population, the federal government and policymakers will arise with a life-changing proposal: digital money, arguing that in order to reverse runaway inflation and major wealth losses, the only logical move would be to completely abandon paper dollars and fully embrace an entirely digital currency.
Which would really put us in the area of global stable coins and central bank digital currencies. Now, we have been over this many times. What is a global stable coin? According to the Financial Stability Board, which is a regulatory agency directly connected to the G20 and the G7, it is a stable coin with the potential reach and adoption across multiple jurisdictions and the potential to achieve substantial volume. And what do we know about that? We know that Mark Carney and the Working Group of 30 has clearly noted that Ripple, a real-time gross settlement system currency and remittance network whose currency XRP leapfrogs slow and expensive correspondent banking, could, in fact, to his opinion, serve as a systemic hegemonic currency and be backed by deposits at different central banks, and it is possible that such a stable coin could be valuable for cross-border payments. And then he points to the private sector company Ripple and XRP. And that's what we're talking about here today. And this is where we're going, I believe. I really do believe that. And let me take you back to the video because I want to pause this at this right here, and let's take a look at this. You cannot put negative interest rates on consumers until you eliminate cash. Otherwise, savers would just withdraw cash from the banks and stuff it in mattresses to avoid the negative interest rates. And they are right. They are absolutely right. That's exactly what people would do. So at some point, you're going to see, whether it's sooner or later, you're going to see a push for them to have control. And when they do, they're going to push for you to turn in your money for some reason or some way. And whether that starts abroad in other countries and then makes its way domestically, and maybe this is a 2-year thing, maybe this is a 10, 15-year thing. I don't know. But what I do know is when you think about the control that central bank digital currencies gives the governments and the central banks of the world, I'm telling you right now, I think they are just, salivating at the mouth to be able to have the opportunity to have that kind of control and to be able to enforce negative interest rates without us being able to say or do anything about it. Looking here, governments won't surrender their monopoly over money. And it is absolutely true. We've heard Brad Garlinghouse echo these comments about how we've worked within the system, right? Within the government, within the banking system, because we know that a revolution happens from within, not without. And that is an important thing to remember. I think that's Thomas Jefferson as well. So with that being said, they won't give up the ghost, and that's why we're still waiting for this market to take off, because the official on and off ramps, albeit public-private relationships or not, and I do believe there will be CBDC public-private relationships like Ripple and the Fed and other central banks around the world, maybe even Stellar and other banks we know as well. But for me, I do believe we will see that public-private relationship, but it will allow the governments and central banks, again, to not have to give up that monopoly they have over the power and control and relevance that they have over money. When you control the money, you control the world. Politics don't matter because you pay for politicians, and politicians will do what they're told to do, or we'll vote you out and we'll get somebody in who does. So moving again here to another quote I want to go to, and let's see here, and it's right here. Anyone who controls the money controls political power, the economy, and people's lives. And it couldn't be any more true. Don't believe it. It is still true. Then I go here, and I want to show you this here because it's just relevant to what leads to a reset. Where are all these things coming from, and where are we going in order to see it happen? Well, we've all talked about the IMF and the SDRs and the involvement that we could see XRP on the back end, bringing the utility to the SDR that already exists. Over the next several years, we will see the issuance of SDRs to transnational organizations such as the UN, World Bank, to be spent on climate change infrastructure and other elite pet projects outside the supervision of any democratically elected bodies. In other words, where we can do this without asking for permission, you can consider it done. Okay. And that is what we see. And we've been talking about that. Look, let's talk about the World Economic Forum. How often I show you this about XRP being cited here for when countries are building their central bank digital currencies. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about the IMF. We're talking about the IMF showing you they're citing Ripple as a solution to be incorporated as a new digital platform for payments and settlement. This isn't just us hyping ourselves up a tree. And I think it's very important for us to make sure that we never do that. So let's move a little further forward here. And look at this little quote here. Not exactly crypto. CBDCs use the same underlying distributed ledger technology that cryptocurrencies use. But they're different from cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, although the differences are often overlooked by the crypto crowd. And that couldn't be more true either, because I don't believe people put enough emphasis of understanding the enormous weight that central bank digital currencies have, because that is going to be the on and off ramps to the digital asset space, no matter what crypto you play in or what you're using them for. And they will be able to monitor how you come into this market and how you come out of this market. And should you stay inside the digital realm, albeit CBDCs or not, they're going to know where you are. And to me, do I like that? No. The libertarian in me is screaming like, oh, hell no. But the truth is, this is where it's going. This is why they're doing all the things they're doing. So from that, I want to remind all of you that the Federal Reserve has told us what? That they are going to be engaging the public. The Federal Reserve is going to be engaging the public with their central bank digital currency this year. This year, they will be engaging the public. And by the way, all of this is really escalated when we think about the enormity of whether we're talking about a Great Reset or New Bretton Woods or whatever it is. What we're really talking about here is getting this fourth industrial revolution and the United States revealing how they are going to drop onto the scene here as a country and remain a leader here. And I believe they absolutely will. And when they do, I think it can put to rest what everyone's real concern is today, which is China. And China happens to be the leader at this point in launching their digital yuan. And there isn't a country that I could speak of right now that would be happy about seeing China be the leader of the fourth industrial revolution. So I think there are a lot of things happening back end. And when I say a lot of things happening back end, I think of Ripple and the fact that they're piloting a private ledger for central banks, launching central bank digital currencies, for which will give the central banks the control of this new digital financial world that everyone refers to as the fourth industrial revolution. That's going to do it for me. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe, leave a comment below, and make sure you share with somebody you know. Guys, it's tax time. Taxes have been pushed back to May 15th. You got time. Crypto Tax Fixer. It's Clinton Donnelly. He's the best in the business. Make sure you check the link in the description box and the comment section for everything that I use. They are trusted, vetted links, and I'll catch all of you on the next one.